Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Highness Sayyid Fahad bin Mahmoud reviews with the French Defense Minister the cooperation relations between the two countries and enhancing them at various fields. His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah stresses that achieving security and stability in the region is a major strategic issue. The Sultanate continues to spend on the investment projects, and the value of projects in the current year exceed 1.5 billion riyals. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Highness Sayyid Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed, Deputy Prime Minister for the Council of Ministers, received today His Excellency Jean-Yves Le Drian, Minister of Defense of France, who is an official visit to the Sultanate. After His Highness welcomed His Excellency and the delegation, cooperation relations between the two friendly countries were reviewed in addition to positive development at all levels, starting from the joint keenness to enhance them at various fields. His Excellency praised the wisdom policy carried out by the Sultanate under the leadership of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos and expressed the satisfaction that France with the Sultanate on its approach in solving regional and international issues and the existing cooperation with his country in various fields. The talks during the meeting also included future cooperation between the Sultanate and France, in addition to reviewing current situation and regional and international levels, besides matters of common concern. His Excellency, the Minister of Defense and France, and his delegation expressed their pride to visit, which they gave them opportunity to discover closely the comprehensive development witnessed by the Sultanate, stressing the importance of discussions held with the officials in the Sultanate within the framework of instill fruitful cooperation between both countries. The meeting was attended by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Saud bin Harib Al Busaidi, Minister responsible for Defense Affairs, and His Excellency Ronald Dutebrand, French Ambassador to the Sultanate. The Omani and French military relations top discussions of His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed Al Nu'mani, Minister of Royal Office, when he received His Excellency Jean-Yves Le Drian, Minister of Defense of France, and in his office today. During the meeting, they further discussed the common interests between the countries and means of enhancing them. The Sultanate and France held an official session of talks discussing military cooperation existing between the two countries. The Omani side in the session was chaired by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Saud bin Harib Al Busaidi, Minister responsible for Defense Affairs, where the French side was chaired by His Excellency Jean-Yves Le Drian, Minister of Defense in the friendly French Republic. During the meeting, both sides stressed their keenness to enhance cooperation to serve interests of the two friendly countries. His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, stressed that achieving security and stability in the region is a grand strategy issue. His Excellency the Minister also said in the coordination meeting for the Foreign Ministers of Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) countries that the Council countries are working to find solution for the region's issues. He added that during the meeting, they reviewed the GCC relations with different countries and how to prepare meetings which will be held at the level of all countries, as well as the most important political developments. His Excellency confirmed the importance of enhancing the joint work and unifying visions of the meetings of the GCC countries and other groups. Still to come in our news bulletin. The Ministry of Environment and Climate Affairs installs tracking devices via satellite on 7 turtles in Madeira Island. Welcome back to the Sultanate of Oman television. The Sultanate succeeded in moving forward in an accelerated pace in achieving economic growth. The total investment expenditure of the Sultanate amounted to more than 1.5 billion Omani riyals, with an increase compared to the first half of last year. With fluctuations in oil prices, with chances of going up to some extent, the state's general budget registered a deficit of more than 3.5 billion Omani riyals in the first 6 months of the current year. It also recorded a decrease in the total revenues, reaching to 8,011 billion riyals after registering last year 4,058 billion riyals. The economic bulletin issued by the National Center for Statistics and Information showed that the Sultanate succeeded in covering of more than 60% of the deficit during the first half of the current year through a number of funding means, which improved the economic strength and stability of the Sultanate and its ability for quick recovery. The expenditure during the first half of the year reached 6.61 billion riyals compared to 6.5 billion riyals in the first half of 2015. Meanwhile, the operating expenses had not showed expected decrease, as they amounted to 3.84 billion riyals during the first half of the year, at the time of the Ministry of Finance urged to rationalize the expenditure in government companies and bodies through financial circulars. The expenditure increased year by year, as statistics showed. The Sultanate is waiting to reap the fruits of its investment in the upcoming period. The Sultanate's share in International Monetary Fund increased by more than 100 million Omani riyals at the first half of the current year compared to the same period last year. The entitlements of domestic commercial banks at Central Bank of Oman increased to 4.7 billion Omani riyals, with the increased banking activity being witnessed by the Sultanate. The CBO's general budget recorded an increase of 1.2 billion riyals as to reach 8 billion and 783 million riyals at the end of the first half of current year. The foreign assets and billions increased at the CBO to more than 8.27 billion riyals at the end of last June compared to 6.75 billion riyals at the end of December 2015. The CBO's quarterly bulletin showed that the value of cash in circulation in local currency amounted to 1.83 billion riyals. The Tourism Department at the College of Arts and Social Sciences in Sultan Qaboos University, SQU, launched Chinese language as an elective course for SQU, which added to the university students after German, French, Persian, Italian and Japanese. The studying of Chinese language will give students the opportunity to understand more about Chinese civilization, in addition to familiarize with each other and deepen mutual understanding between the two countries. The Ministry of Environment and Climate Affairs, in cooperation with Omani Environment Association, succeeded in installing tracking devices via satellite on 7 female Omani-type turtles in Masera Island. This step aimed to study conditions of natural nesting and habitat for this type of turtles, which live in north and west of Indian Ocean and classified within the list of endangered species. Researchers pointed out that the existence of sharp decrease compared with previous studies, which clarified existence of 30,000 of this type. A building made of tires, glass and plastic bottles off-the-grid and non-polluting village in Uruguay is home of a fully sustainable school and a bold experiment in green citizenship. More details in the following report.
A sunny winter's day is great news for these Uruguayan children. As pupils of South America's first sustainable school, they study in a building heated only using solar panels.
¿Qué pasa con el agua de la lluvia?
On top of the normal school program, they learn about recycling, energy saving and growing their own food.
The school is an autonomous building in the sense that it isn't connected to any energy infrastructure for water or anything. It's sustainable in the way it functions, totally autonomous, and it works thanks to its connection with nature, the sun and the rain.
The building was funded by a local NGO and a detergent company and designed by US architect Michael Reynolds, a self-professed garbage warrior who's devoted his career to building self-sufficient structures out of recyclable material.
People called me an idiot, building with garbage, what a fool, you're a disgrace to the architectural community. I was trying to contain sewage and treat it and do all of these things that architects didn't do.
The 39 students, some just starting preschool and others in their final year before university, learn it's possible to live in a building that produces no waste. NGO volunteers organize regular workshops on sustainability for pupils and teachers too.
Little by little we're becoming qualified. In fact, we're being trained by them. We're being trained to learn how the school works, how to maintain it so that the systems don't deteriorate.
Some of the children have even started educating their parents.
Every day we walk here and he finds glass in the sand or plastic or something and he picks it up. He says, I'm keeping this to throw it away. He doesn't leave it there. He picks it up and he throws it away in the right place.
For these little garbage warriors, saving the planet has become an integral part of their homework.
Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Partly cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of Governorate of the Far with chances of intermittent drizzle. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with cloud accumulation and scattered rainfall over the Hajar Mountains. Winds will be easterly to northeasterly light to moderate over the coast of Sea of Oman, while on the rest of the coast it will be southeasterly to south light to moderate. Seas will be moderate along the coast of the Sea of Arabian Sea and the maximum wave height will be 2.5 meters and slight along the coast of Sea of Oman with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Highness Sayyid Fahad bin Mahmoud reviews with the French Defense Minister the cooperation relations between the two countries and enhancing them at various fields. His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah stresses that achieving security and stability in the region is a major strategic issue. The Sultanate continues to spend on the investment project, and the value of projects in the current year exceed 1.5 billion riyals. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studio and the newsroom, it's good night.